So today I'll be showing you how I built this house in The Sims 4. This is a base game only build, so anyone can import this into their game and it will be up on the Sims Exchange, link below. This is my inspiration. It was an image I found on Pinterest, which will also be linked below. I just saw it and I really wanted to recreate it. It's like a modern take on a Cape Cod, and I just thought it was really beautiful. I used the outside as inspiration for the interior. You'll see where it's kind of modern, but also has a lot of eclectic and rustic influences. So if you're interested in seeing how I built this, just keep watching. So here we go with the build. I started off with that front room that the front door would go into because I could kind of tell that that was all going to be one room, and the walls on the outside, these half walls, depended on that front room. And so I go through and I do these. I matched the wood tone to the picture. Um, and then I added onto the back of the house, making sure it was an L shape so that that outdoor dining room in the front that you could see in the inspiration photo was there. So I also put a lot of like shape into this house, like this bay window here. I just think that that added a little bit of traditional features, even though the front of the house is all very modern. So then I made sure to get the floor in there for the outdoor area and the balcony up top. This ends up being a balcony off of the master bedroom, which just seemed appropriate. The layout of the upper floor changes a little bit. I had some struggles with the tools as this was the first time that I'd popped into The Sims in a bit, and I had honestly forgotten some of the shortcuts and things that you need to use. So then I had a little bit of a struggle with the stairs. So I put it in and I was kind of trying to figure out the layout upstairs. My image for who would live in this house was a young couple, one of whom is an architect, and that's why they live in such a visually interesting home. So I was trying to figure out how many bedrooms I wanted to have. So I ended up deciding on two. So I have this layout here where there's the master with the ensuite, and then there's another bedroom with an ensuite that's at the front of the house there. You also notice I hop around a lot when I'm building, and that's just how I operate. I really can't go one room at a time because it's just too logical for me, obviously. You know, why would you do that? So here I am playing with the roofing. I messed up a lot more than what I chose to include, if I'm going to be honest. So you're just seeing the best bits. Yeah, so I was really careful with these roofs on the front of the house because I wanted to mimic that photo very carefully. So I did a lot of adjusting here to make sure that there was that little bit of roof over the front balcony, but not a complete roof, and that I was really capturing the photo. So here I realized that the spacing of that half wall was off and adjusted accordingly so that the path led to the front door, which takes up 2 squares. And I pulled back the walls because I realized that being open to the garden as like an entrance to explore, you know, these beautiful gardens was a really cool idea. And it looked like in the photo that they actually were more open than I had originally built them. So then I'm putting in one of the doors to the outdoor dining room here and putting a big bay window on the front, as was in the inspiration photo. I had some trouble with the siding on the upper floors. I really wanted something that looked like wood, but there just isn't an option that looks enough like wood, which was very frustrating, honestly. So I ended up going with just brown siding. It doesn't look nearly as rough as the wood in the inspiration photo, which was very frustrating because that texture isn't there, but you know, I'm limited to the base game. So then I'm trying to put in this little window in the eave of that front room, and it's just not working right. I have to make it so tall to put it in, so I choose to leave that part of the inspiration photo out and just have the windows at the typical level here on the wall. So I put those three across, putting some windows in at the balcony, and I decided to use a round window at the top of the stairs in the hallway, so that that round window would still be included in the house somehow on the front. So then just putting windows into the living room and family room, working on that bay window, and then I believe we begin to move into the kitchen here. So put in that doorway, put in the outside door to the outdoor dining room. And then at this point, I realized that there should be a half wall along the side of the outdoor dining room that shouldn't just be open to the yard. So I put in the half wall, matched that color, and then I began working on these front gardens and sidewalk. Um, I decided to do little stone paths painted through the gardens for a very, very natural feel, and so you could move almost, through the vegetation. I put a bench into this front garden as just like a nice little feature if you could go out front. I don't know how many people who really sit in their front yards, but in theory. And then I began doing the landscaping. I'm going to be honest, I don't greatly enjoy landscaping, but I loved doing these front gardens. Figuring out what was going to look good, and because there's not a ton of plant choices in The Sims 4, I decided to put in trees, even though there weren't trees in the front gardens in the original image. I personally like a little more privacy in my home. I'm not a big fan of, seeing too much of my neighbors. And so trees felt like a natural inclusion for something that I had built in that regard. So putting in the vegetation here, I downsized a lot of the bushes and upsized other ones just to make them fit better into the garden and to have different levels of height to the vegetation. So over here, I downsize some of these little guys. And I tried to have a color scheme, but I don't think it really ended up working out. So there's orange and white and then a little bit of purple. I also used this tree with the lights in it because I thought that was amazing for being by the outdoor dining room. Like, who doesn't want to sit and have dinner and have some twinkle lights? I thought that was really, really great. So filling in all of the plants, including a couple decorative rocks around. And then after I'd actually finished the house and everything, I did add outdoor lights into these front gardens, just those ones that sit on the ground, because I realized that having all this vegetation unilluminated was a little bit of an oversight. So if you download this from the exchange, you'll actually be able to have lights in there. So then I moved on to the kitchen because I believe in the kitchen that you should put in the counters before the windows, so then you know where you're going to put your fridge and cabinets before the windows go in, because otherwise you run into issues with covering the windows. So I figured out the floor plan of my kitchen. I stacked those cabinets so that there's almost like a little pantry feel to that corner. And then I put a window above the sink, and I put in one of these big bay windows above the other counter. So I'm going upstairs to finish the windows. Circular one in the little room off of the bathroom. My family calls that the pooper room because it has the toilet and the shower in it. Don't know what your families call it or what it's technically called, if I'm going to be honest. Decided to switch around the sink and window there so that it looked better with where I put the windows upstairs, and then went into the main part of the master bedroom. Then this is just the open area above the family room, window in the spare bedroom there. And then I think I was done with the windows. Yeah. So I come back down, finish the doorways downstairs, and start on painting. So I put a little backsplash in the kitchen and then matched the gray that was above the backsplash for the rest of the kitchen, and then made this little area into another pantry. And I believe I will put the fridge, yep, there we go. I put the fridge to the left of that, and then I began working on the rest of the kitchen. So flooring, oh, did the flooring of the whole downstairs in one go. Oh, and we're back to the living room. So then I put in the fireplace. I was going to go for a more modern one, but then figured the fireplace should be a more traditional aspect of the home if anything's going to be. So then threw curtains and blinds up on the windows. That one ends up being changed, I remember. This one I had a lot of trouble with and decided that it wouldn't have a covering. Because being able to see into the kitchen, I don't think is a big deal. You're not changing clothes in the kitchen usually, unless you're living a more wild life than me. So I began figuring out the living room. I wanted to put 2 chairs in front of the fireplace so then the couple could sit in those. And then I wanted almost a built-in looking bookcase, and I ended up overlapping these two so that it was the length of the wall, and hopefully had a little bit of a built-in aspect. And then put in this little chest just for decoration and my favorite floor lamp. So then on top of the mantle, I hung something small and then put decorations because I like a bit more of an eclectic mantle than a streamlined, just one singular painting kind of mantle. So I really enjoyed that. And then I put the little bench askew in the bay window with a plant. You'll notice there's a lot of plants in this apartment. I just think that plants are such an excellent addition to any home. So then there's some little plants on that corner table as well, and an architecture plan on the wall. And I figured those would just be like some family photos. So then I put in this side table with just a few other decorations on it and a mirror above. I hate how you can't adjust the height of the mirrors. Somebody tell me if there's a way to do that that I just haven't discovered. It really bothers me if I'm going to be honest. So there's that little table, and then I moved into the kitchen, puts the knives up, and was going to put that little chalkboard, changed my mind, put the garbage can there, and then put a side table with some plants in the corner here. Just kind of a little eclectic mix on this side table, just using the 9 key to raise those up to the height of the table. Oh, decided against that small plant. So then I finished off the rest of the kitchen with decorations and small appliances. Put a nice little wine rack over under that bay window, put in the microwave, and then the espresso maker, because who doesn't need an espresso maker? And a nice another flower in this window. Love plants. So then I moved to the rugs. I started off putting multiple rugs in this kitchen because I figured that one big area rug didn't seem like quite enough. But then with a door rug, it ended up being too busy. So in the end, I ended up doing just the two without the runner in front of that section with the bay window. So then I made sure to light the rest of the downstairs, although I believe I do miss the bathroom here. I come back to that later. So then a little coat hook by the door and the nice little shoe rack. And then I figured out what to do with this front room. I knew they still needed a TV, so even though this is the front room, which is usually the more formal of the two sitting rooms, this is where the TV ended up going. So I did that nice little chest TV stand. And then I originally put in this very Victorian looking sofa, and then I was going to do a modern coffee table, but the room just didn't have enough space for that. So I forewent the coffee table and ended up putting in a more modern sofa, but with the light blue, because the light blue was the accent color in this room. And then I included a desk with a computer here and um, put in a light above the desk instead of on it to give it a little bit more of a streamlined look without a ton of desk clutter. And then that modern chair with the rustic desk I really thought worked. I tried to bring in elements of industrial into this room. So then there's another chair in the corner with a nice wall decoration. I end up going for some of the plates. And then I rearranged the rugs because rugs are difficult for me apparently. But I ended up liking that large area rug going between both of the spaces. So then we did the downstairs powder room, just a quick little bathroom, throwing some towels up on the wall and a toilet paper holder. Yep, there we go. And then I was going to put a rug in here, but it just didn't fit well, so I forewent the rug. So then I realized that they really should have an indoor dining room of some sort. So I put in just these 2 chairs and one little table because I figure if they're entertaining, they're definitely going to use that wonderful outdoor space. But if it's raining and they just want to sit down and have dinner together, they have this nice little table. I really debated about the rugs again. There just wasn't something that was fitting into this space well, and it was very frustrating. But I ended up downsizing that rug with the leaves on it and going with that. So then upstairs, I put in stone behind the master bed, just as almost more of a headboard. And then I really hate matching side tables, so I did these two different ones, and the more traditionally feminine one has a more masculine lamp, and then the more traditionally masculine end table has a more traditionally feminine lamp. So I thought that was a nice little mix. And then I was trying to decide where to put the dresser, ended up getting rid of one of the end tables so the dresser could go in that corner with a nice standing lamp, and then I put a mirror above, or no, painting? I might switch to a mirror here in a second. Let's see. Oh no, I kept with the painting. Okay. So I put a painting above that dressing table and then just a couple bottles of perfume or cologne. And then on the balcony, there's just another little table. Figured that'd be a nice spot to, drink coffee in the morning or something like that, for if they're gonna have, breakfast in bed kind of idea. So then there's a big soaker tub in the main part of the bathroom, and then the double sinks. I put in a standing mirror because I thought that was just a nice traditional element. And then, yep, there's the two sinks that are a little bit more of an old style. And then here's the pooper room with the shower and the toilet, and then some nice flagstone for the flooring, or slate. I always imagine that's slate tile. So then just the bathroom details, putting the towels up, and I thought about putting a hamper into the master bedroom for a minute and then changed my mind on that. So then here is the other bathroom on the second floor. Just a quick little simple one. And then nice mirror with storage behind it and towels. So then here's the second bedroom, which became the architect's drafting room. Originally I had this mauve color on the walls, and then it just seemed a little dark, so lightened it up and just did plain white. Put in the nice big drafting table, a nice modern chair with that wood, and then I was going to put a sofa in here, moved it around a bit, and then I ended up changing my mind and I put in bookshelves. And then there is a nice, chair in the corner for to sit and read in, some other paintings on the wall, and another architecture plan. And then did wood in the entire upstairs, except for the bathrooms, because I realized I hadn't really done the floors. And then I thought putting in a rug on a diagonal was a really nice effect in this room. It kind of just like broke up all of the wood and streamlinedness. So then I made sure to put a rug in the master bedroom, same one as downstairs, and finished up there. So then to the outdoor dining room, originally I wanted to have a bit more than just a dining table out here. Realized that wasn't going to be possible and more or less centered the table, and then put in a nice little grill out here, and then a nice big terracotta planter. So out back, I was going to put a pool or something, but then I realized that I didn't know if these people would use a pool that I had imagined. So if you download it, you are free to do whatever you want in the backyard. In the end, there's just one big willow tree back there. So feel free to add whatever you want in the backyard that works for your Sims, and also redo that second bedroom to whatever they are into or whatever their professions are if you do want to download this house. So here's just an overview of the outside and that lovely front area, and then we'll move inside, and here's just a little overview of how the living room ended up looking, or the family room I should say. And then up here in the living room, that nice little front area, and then the desk area. And then we moved to the kitchen, and we zoom through the kitchen to outside, the lovely outdoor dining room, and then from another angle. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe if you did enjoy this, because I do plan on doing more Sims videos in the future. And give it a like, leave me a comment, anything you're feeling, and I hope to see you watching future videos. Bye.